And now back to your regular programming.
If you speak better to yourself.
You showed up for probably the dumbest conversation we've ever had on this show.
Let's have that smile again.
Tell me how that happens. Physically should not happen.
Relax.
If you say it
Give me as well.
3 times a day, God will line it up.
He's just an absolute hack, and he gets his ass kicked by the teammates every week. It's just terrible.
Welcome back to Hack City. Joe DeLeone and Sean Anderson, 2 former college football players from the University of Rhode Island. We're here to recap week 2 of college football action. It was a weekend in which seemingly so many teams decided to not play up to any expectation. Kansas losing, Iowa loses to Iowa State. A lot of teams had opportunities to prove themselves. Instead, they chose to do the complete opposite. Michigan falls into that bucket. And of course, we're going to talk about Notre Dame, the performance that they have. Before we get to that, though, Sean, can you quickly share with our listeners where they can bet and maybe make themselves feel better about themselves, unlike us, who took an enormous bath on our bets?
Yeah, that's Bet Online. If you tailed us this weekend, I'm hoping you did. You would have been a fat, happy winner instead of depressed, genuinely.
Yeah.
Feeling like a 10-pound weight on each of my shoulders and a 20-pound weight on my head. Bet Online is where you want to do your betting and not feel like this. Bet Online has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. Maybe if we were smarter, we would try to snipe a line and try to be instead of trying to be the geniuses to pick it before it happens. You can do that at Bet Online. You could be smarter than us. You can learn from our mistakes. NFL's kicking up. Get in on their $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at a weekly prizes and share of $200,000. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Bet Online, the game starts here.
So a quick shout on this game before we get to Notre Dame. That's going to be the first one we get to. Tennessee is up as we're recording this 51-10. 51-10. That's insane. Dude, I said this. I've said this on radio spots. I said this on Rufino and Joe. Less on this show. Nico is the next coming of a great SEC quarterback. Landed in the perfect situation. I know that he had the early interception. I would love to see guys that have ridiculous rare arm strength and abilities like Nico take chances and test lanes that they're not going to always connect on. That could lead to turnovers because the success that you have on those plays, it leads to an enormous explosion. So, man, that's insane. 51-10 against a ranked team.
Here's what's also impressive is that the casuals are noting this. Not people that are coming recording shows, doing prep, and truly watching, but the casuals are taking note. I'm getting texts in group chats. Hey, get ready. This is the next Cowboys quarterback. Get ready. This is the next so-and-so first overall draft pick. People are starting to notice that this guy is exciting, talented, and technically disciplined at the quarterback position. Super excited for what he's going to be able to do for Tennessee and take that offense, which was good with Hendon Hooker, into a really good offense that could compete with anybody in the SEC.
All right, so I want to start us here. Notre Dame loses to Northern Illinois. Anyone who follows this channel knows that I am an avid Notre Dame fan. I do midweek and post-game reactions on Bleacher Report on their app for Notre Dame. They lose to Northern Illinois 16-14. I think the only real storyline that we can have coming out of this, and I don't want anyone ever to be soft about reacting to this, because I was always silenced after Notre Dame had stumbled in a number of games when I criticized Marcus Freeman. That's the storyline, is can Marcus Freeman be the guy that actually gets Notre Dame back to their national championship prominence? Can he actually be the one to do it? And back when they lost to Marshall, I could immediately tell that something wasn't right. They did the same thing against Stanford last year. They did it against Louisville. They did it against Clemson. All those losses have something similar. And they've had other games where they've pulled out close wins that they should have been bigger margins of victory. But all the similarities in those games, Sean. So they came out flat. They came out unprepared. That comes down to the head coach. It comes down to the motivation that a coach is giving to his team in practice and attention to detail, no matter the opponent. Having played, I know what it's like on the field in those practices. We both do. It is beyond frustrating being a Notre Dame fan. It's pathetic knowing that happened. I still can't wrap my head around the fact that they lost to a G5 opponent. After they put out a product in week 1 to prove to us in a year where the path was perfect for them to go to the playoff. Easy schedule. You got through your one tough game. You just needed to beat Florida State, to beat USC, and you could have been 12-0 walking into the playoff.
You didn't need an auto bid. You could just get in on your own merit.
All I keep coming back to, Sean, there's no recovering from this. He's had multiple duds in situations where he should have won. And this tops it all. Year three after the recruiting at the level that he has, with the talent that he has on this team, with all the money that was spent on Mike Denbrock, who was one of the best offensive coordinators in the country last year, that had a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. He's not the guy. He is a tremendous coordinator. He is an unbelievable recruiter. I think he's going to make a great NFL defensive coordinator. I think that's what probably is going to be next for him. But he's done. They're probably going to let him finish his contract for the next couple of years, but there is no way in anyone's right mind that they can believe that Marcus Freeman is the guy that is going to get this team right.
Yeah, I'll give you a couple reasons why this is embarrassing, and not from the generic Sean, I'll mess with Joe about Notre Dame, but from the strictly watching this game, following this team perspective. You can't lose to Northern Illinois when you have a superiorly talented team. This Notre Dame team, as much as I joke around with Joe, is talented. They do have first-round players. They do have a good offensive line. They do have a legit college football quarterback. They have the pieces to be a team that could make the college football playoff. Mm-hmm. Second of all, you lose to Northern Illinois at home. That is critically bad. You could even have gotten a pass losing to Texas A&M on the road and had a little bit of a buffer. It's a hard place to play in. They get loud. Texas A&M doesn't have to deal with the Jimbo shtick anymore. Like, there are buffers to give you some separation, some leeway, a little bit of slack before you get into the real conversation. Thirdly, Notre Dame was 3 for 10 on third down today. That is god awful. I don't know the last time I've seen a team go 30% on third down and have them win the game. That tells me you're not prepared truly as an offense. And you didn't think you were going to have a lot of third downs, did you, Notre Dame? You were ready for first down, second down, and if we get a 3rd and 2 from averaging 4 yards a rush, then we could just do it again. You couldn't, because Northern Illinois was coached up. They were gap sound. They flooded the gaps. They shut down a very good running back and a good running game. And they made Riley Leonard look suspect with tight coverage because you locked them you put Notre Dame in a box today. It was incredible. They lost the time of possession battle by 9 minutes. It looked like Northern Illinois should have been the 5-ranked team compared to Notre Dame, just on the preparation standpoint.
All right, I'm not going to go that far. Okay. I'm just going to keep harping on this, though. As a Notre Dame fan, it's not an overreaction to say this, and any outside onlooker should be able to clearly see it was too soon to hire Marcus Freeman. It was way too soon to hire him as a head coach. It absolutely was. It was a risk. You were hoping that because the incoming recruiting class was bought in on him and that he would end up turning into a recruiting powerhouse, and he has recruited tremendously well. He has helped develop these guys tremendously well. That was completely on display against the Texas A&M in that game. But when you can't get your team ready for games, up for games, excited for the opportunity to kick a MAC team's ass and to load up the box score, you knew immediately that they were not focused. I'm over it. I don't know when you get rid of them, and they're not going to anytime soon because they're going to finish this year 9-3. They're probably going to lose to USC. They'll probably lose to Louisville or Georgia Tech, and their record's going to be good enough for Marcus Freeman and his agent to come back and say, look, we're 9-3 again. We've got this really good winning percentage. We just need a little bit more time. It's a little bit tough. Bullshit. I'm sick of it. I'm so unbelievably over and sick of this, watching that product on a week-to-week basis, knowing that they're supposed to win these games. It's week 2. The season's over. Yeah,
they made a vibes hire, and everyone kind of knew it was a vibes hire when the big bad Brian Kelly was leaving for LSU, and we have this charming, energetic, defensive, good recruiter. He's passionate, and the team likes him. That's all that was coming out of South Bend was the team just loves Marcus Freeman. Everyone's excited for the 5 a.m. workouts because they can't wait to be coached by him. Okay, We all kind of knew it was a vibes hire at the beginning, though. We knew that it was a knee jerk where we don't want to deal with the drama. Brian Kelly and that weird exit interview or that exit meeting that he had. And now we're reaping what we have sowed as the Notre Dame fans are looking at an awful start to the season.
Next game, I want to talk about Texas versus Michigan. Texas completely obliterates Michigan on the road, 31-12. All I got out of this, man, I feel very confident in what Texas is going to do this year. Anytime you go in a road environment, which, God, this feels painful to say just after talking about Notre Dame. Anytime you go in a road environment to face off with a ranked opponent and you stomp them out this manner, that means that you've got a locked-in team, that you've got a ton of juice on offense, and you got a dominant defense. They were able to completely eliminate any ability for Michigan to throw the ball. Like they were strong enough against the run. They gave up some chunk plays, not some big splash plays, but they were able to eventually get these third and mediums, which is playable downs for offenses. And Davis Warren was cooked. There was nothing for them to do. The biggest impression point for me is how capable they were to create abundant, explosive passing plays. Just consistent, capable chunk plays. They're hurting at running back right now. Jaden Blue got a little dinged up. They had injuries in the preseason. I don't know what direction they're going to go in there. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. It didn't matter that they were going up against a really good run defense. This team is legitimately deserving of being in that top 4 or 5 teams that could win a national championship this year.
Ewers, 246 yards, 3 touchdowns. He probably could have thrown for 350 if he really wanted to. This game was over after the first half. Texas was dominant. Their offensive mix was beautiful, getting different people the ball in different explosive ways. It was a work of art what they did against Michigan. And Michigan isn't a slouch. Are they different without J.J. McCarthy, who I've been down on? Regardless, they still are. They're not as good. They're not as cohesive. Davis Warren isn't the ball deliverer that they were hoping he would be.
That's a new descriptor for a quarterback.
Donovan Edwards.
Ball deliverer.
Donovan Edwards at times in this game had some suspect vision when he was running into his lineman's back when there were open holes. Michigan still needs to flesh some stuff out, and I thought genuinely their defense would be a little better. I think they have the best defensive player on the country, and in Will Johnson, and he can't get any help. The defensive line was supposed to be better, and they got manhandled. 143 yards on the ground at home, you're giving that up, and a touchdown to 5 different ball carriers. Give me a break. This was a tough game for Michigan. I know Texas is loaded, but it's not like they didn't lose people in the offseason. It's not like they don't have roster turnover. They keep on getting it done, and I keep on getting reaffirmed that Quinn Ewers is a top quarterback and someone that if I'm a Texas fan, I'm excited to go on this ride with. Sure, he takes risks. Sure, sometimes there's a dropped pick that could go for 6. But he doesn't let it phase him. He'll keep on taking the risks, taking the chances, and making good decisions when a good decision is available. He's not cowering out when he sees a mediocre decision because he knows eventually it'll lead to a good one and he can make that throw. I love what I've seen from Quinn Ewers for the first couple games.
That's the thing for me with Ewers is that early on in his career, you could kind of see a little bit of hesitation, and he's not the type of guy that needs to be hesitant. He is big arm. He's of the Caleb Williams, Patrick Mahomes, now Dylan Raiola archetype of big, slinging arm, make the big play, take the risk, fight through the window, find a way to fit it in. You might get a turnover. Don't be afraid to make plays. That is good football in 2024. This isn't 1985 or 2003 when he had some big statue dumbass quarterback who couldn't move, and you just need him to kind of move the sticks.
Why
when
are you
you
talking
call
about
on
Will Howard like that?
What? Hey, all right. Don't put that in my mouth. He can move. He's a good athlete. What are you talking about? Don't do that. Don't do that. I've been a critic of Will Howard. To get to another game though, I want to rip through a bunch of these as kind of like quick hit reactions. I kind of like us doing this show late on a Saturday. 28-10. Is the current score of the Nebraska-Colorado game as we're recording this, but there's only 50 seconds left.
It should be 60-10.
Yeah. Raiola, 23 for 31, 185 yards, and a touchdown. Dante Dowdle, 74 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. I don't even want to waste our energy talking about Colorado because I'm just over them. I'm completely done. I'm tired of getting burned by Coach Prime and that whole roster. I've overinvested. I overinvested my prediction. I said that they were going to win, and I feel like a total dolt saying that. I'm all in on Matt Rule and what he's building. I don't know if they finish the year ranked, but I think that this is a scrappy, competitive team. Next year, they're going to be a playoff contender. They're going to be knocking on the door. Dylan Raiola, as a true sophomore, I bet that they're able to entice some premier transfer guys to come in. I bet that they're going to have another strong recruiting class. This team has the goods. They have everything that you need. We were joking about how like the defensive line's just two of the biggest humans in the Midwest with shaved heads. They just look mean and pissed off. No bend, no burst.
But they're not even just run stoppers. They had 6 sacks in this game. Unbelievable. Nebraska is...
Talk about a clash of just tone.
This was supposed to be an evenly matched game between Nebraska and Colorado. It was supposed to be, here comes the rivalry. Everyone cares about this game. Nebraska was the class of this game. They ran the ball harder. They threw the ball in cleaner pockets. The Colorado offensive line... I don't want to beat up on college offensive linemen and say things that are out of pocket, so I just say things that my coach would have said to me. Stop bending at the hips. Stop turning at the line of scrimmage. Stop opening the gate.
Stop reaching.
All of this could be applied to Anderson sitting there, a big 65 with the love handles and the bad form, all right? But I'm seeing it from Colorado, and that makes an impact on me that there are some things in the trenches that need to get ironed out immediately. And we saw in the game, DeLeone Sanders was giving them an earful throughout the game. First quarter, second quarter, third quarter. I know Shedeur didn't finish the game. You can't keep on putting this guy in jeopardy because Shedeur Sanders is a true talent. Travis Hunter is a true talent. He had 10 catches, 110 yards tonight. Still a good game for him, and they got washed. You cannot have these guys out here just getting cardio, wasting their time, wasting the talent that they have because they could be a dynamic offense. They don't commit to the run. They don't have the strength up front to really get a push. Nebraska was resetting the line of scrimmage all night. I was impressed with Nebraska tonight. First time in a while I can really say it. Maybe it's the Raiola factor, but I thought that they were impactful and intimidating at times.
I think that Colorado or Nebraska compared with Colorado, you just see two team building strategies, two completely different ones. And we now know what the right one is. Florida State's stumbled by trying to build the same or building the same way. It's not like they were trying to replicate them, but building the same way as Colorado, where heavy portal, let's bring in a ton of new guys, as many of the top guys as we can get. The real winners are the teams that supplement through it and just build through high school recruiting and buy into the groups of guys that they have. Not going full Dabo where you're not taking anybody, but like they brought in, they brought in the guys that they needed at receiver. And on defense, in order just to give them a little bit of a push over where when you face off with Colorado, you can embarrass them the way that they did.
And their balance is great. They weren't doing too much. They had 185 passing yards, 150 yards on the ground. I love that. That's a great balanced offense. And I think they just watched what North Dakota State did and said, hey, we're going to do what NDSU did, but we're Nebraska. We have a little more talent. We're in the Big Ten. We can do this.
The other game that just extremely disappointed me was the outcome of the Oklahoma State Arkansas game. I called my shot. I thought that Arkansas was going to win that game coming into the week, and they had it. They literally had it. Talk about another team that really faltered. They were running all over them. It was just a perfect marriage of Jaquindon Jackson. We had a polyamorous marriage going on here with Jaquindon Jackson, Taylon Green, and Bobby Petrino. It was just the perfect love triangle of distribution. Everybody was getting all the love that they needed in that situation. They were unstoppable on the ground. That was my best analogy of the season. I am a wordsmith that I was able to create that. That was on the fly too. That was real creation right there. It was so unstoppable what they were doing. They were bodying them. There was a point where they were going to be up 21-0 in the second quarter. And you can really tell where the quality contribution to this team is being had. It's from Petrino because the offense is really freaking good. But horrible discipline, which is in the crowd. Anybody want to guess who's responsible for discipline?
Oh, I'll take one.
Oh, who is it?
I'd say the head coach. Sam Pittman.
That's a correct guess.
Oh, thank you.
You win a new car. Whatever. But Sam Pittman though is responsible for making sure that his team is disciplined, not making mistakes. We had turnovers, we had stupid penalties, just bad decision on a play-to-play basis when they needed to hunker down. I'll let you share the stat that you shared earlier, the separation of total yards in this game. Arkansas lost that game. Sam Pittman's done. I would not be shocked, and this was a conspiracy theory in the preseason. I would not be shocked if Bobby Petrino is not the head coach
By the end of the year.
Yeah, he's gonna be the interim. They're gonna finish the year strong, and they're just gonna promote him.
We'll play a quick game of Team A versus Team B real quick. I'm not going to say who the teams are. I'll have you guess who would have won the game afterwards. All right. Team A, 650 total yards. Team B, 385 total yards. Team A, 232 rushing yards. Team B, 59 rushing yards.
Oh my God. Yeah, which of those teams has a Heisman Trophy contender?
Yeah, well, we'll figure that out in a moment. Team A, 36 minutes of possession time. Team B, 23 minutes of possession time. Team A, 3 turnovers. Team B, 1 turnover. Who do you think won this game?
Do you have any penalty stats on that?
Penalties. Team A, 7 penalties for 71 yards. Team B, 6 penalties for 60 yards.
I guess there's not that much.
That was kind of there. They're all just both teams are kind of throwing each other over the shoulder the whole game.
Well, it wouldn't have been that close if it wasn't for Alan Bowman swinging his hands and doing the pistol thing while stomping down the sideline.
The game got away from some of the players at times.
Yeah, I would have guessed that Team A won the game by how much that stat line.
Team A lost the game, Joe. I'm sorry. You did not get the car.
Insane. Insane. I can't even put
that on offense. Who can put up 650 yards on offense, have a 21-point lead, and lose? See Taylor Green throw for 416 yards. See Jaquin Jackson run for 3 touchdowns, 150 yards, and hold Ollie Gordon to 50 rushing yards and 1 touchdown. Heisman candidate, legit NFL running back talent. You held him on defense to that, but they made so many stupid decisions. Just the players and the coaches just making dumb calls, letting the game get away from them because you thought you had it booked up. You always think you can score more points. The defense still plays hard too if they think they have a shot, and you made so many dumb mistakes that the Oklahoma State just had the door just creaked open. Let me just keep on creaking this door open a little more. And they got through and they won. And I have Joe screaming in my ear about Alan Bowman being 30 years old, still playing college football.
Shouldn't have been there. Insane. Wish my bet hit.
Doesn't help that we won no bets today.
Yeah. Biggest bath we could have taken. We're going to be back on Monday live. We're going to be recapping other just thoughts from college football and as well as the NFL. So be on the lookout for that. Subscribe, drop a comment below, hit the like button, and we will talk to you folks later.